Hi guys, I'm Mex6. We're back at the Dragons Lair, and I have the great pleasure to have my good friend, fresh back in Vegas from Chicago, Stanimal. Stan, welcome back to JayTV, my friend.
Thanks, Dave. A real pleasure to be here and back on the West Coast.
I know we have a lot to talk about. I'm so happy you found your way back to the West Coast. Um, Back at the Dragons Lair, we're putting the whole crew back together, the whole Gold's Gym Venice Hall of Fame, and I'm so excited to have you. I want to go back a little bit on this past year for you. It's been very eventful for you. The last time we filmed in Venice was right around the quarantine when it started. We went to your bike place in the Bartel.
We
with
filmed
Francis.
after that. We filmed once.
We filmed at the Olympia.
In Oxnard. We filmed.
That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah, we went to.
That's
you
right,
came
at the
to
Cal.
No, before the Cal too. But before that, before I moved to Chicago, you came to Oxnard, and we shot with Sean.
Oh my God, I'm losing my memory. You're right. So okay, so I want to explain to people a little bit the whole journey to Chicago and the reason why you left, and then obviously why you came here, because so much has happened in your life since last March. It seems like I want people to catch up a little bit. So tell me. What happened once the quarantine started, and the reason for you to actually moving to Chicago? Because I'm sure a lot of people were wondering, how can you actually, come from Switzerland, move to Venice, train there for so many years, and then go to Chicago? To me, I was just like, So let's explain to people what happened and what your decision, the reason for your decision.
All right. So to explain everything properly, we just have to go back a little further. When in 2013, when I came to Venice for the second time, but when I ended up staying, I came for Gold Gym Venice. All the top pros: Dexter Jackson, Shawn Rhoden, Brad Rowe, Charles Glass being there. All the knowledge, the bodybuilding community, people coming in and out, traveling through, and that paid off really well for me. I got my pro card. I really learned a lot from everybody. I've been able to make connections in the industry and really establish myself. Obviously, gather a lot of knowledge from Charles Glass, Psycho Fitness, Ahmad, Kirk, Chiddick, all the trainers I had the chance to work with. And all the people coming through, you train with people like Sergi Constance, of course, my brother Sean, but having all these top guys like Dexter, who's been around forever. Brad Rowe, who brings like a different. There's so much knowledge around the bodybuilding world in Venice. So that's really what drove me in to move there and to really, make my mark into the industry and where I studied in men's physique back then.
I remember filming you back then. You were so small. I actually met you at the very first time. I think you told me 2010,
Yeah.
before you moved here in 2013, and I actually had forgotten about that. And then you slowly, started competing in men's physique and men's classic, and we saw your evolution. You're very fortunate. I hope you know that for someone to come from another country, just showing up and people embracing him in the community, and just it's great.
Oh no, for sure. I'm forever grateful of, it's something that I believe it's just being genuine, and I'm just so passionate about bodybuilding, and I'm a big fan of the sport, and Sean, I became, our friendship started being a huge fan, an idol of mine, same with Jay. So just having the chance to be around those people that cherish those moments, and time over time, we bond, we create a friendship. And I'm so glad that it happened that way, and I've been able to create those relationships in the sport, and more than just on stage, but behind the scene, eating together, training together, helping, going through struggles together, and really the whole bodybuilding lifestyle. It affects so many areas in your life. So having other people that living that life and being able to give you some advice, it's really insightful and really helpful. So it's been a huge help. But so to get back to where I was saying, that's why I came to Venice in the first place. And beginning of 2020, that's when I realized, everybody's moving away from goals. It's kind of like a whole era is kind of dying out. Sean moved away to Oxnard to be closer to his daughter. Dexter announced that he was going to retire this year. Brad Rowe was retiring from competing, was moving on to other projects. Charles was not even. Oh no, Charles was still there, but
He was sick a little bit
he
for a
was
minute.
sick. And then when COVID hit, like that's kind of like really propulsed everything. So at the beginning of 2020, I realized, I need to move somewhere else because as much as I love Los Angeles and California, it's really expensive. And it was the time for me. I was 32. It was time to not just I gathered everything I could really learn and get from being there, and it was a time to like move on and find another place where I could really build my future also. And so that's why I was starting thinking about moving. And then when COVID hit, it just propulsed everything forward. Obviously, being in LA,
Gold's was closed now. It's like,
Gold's was closed. The benefits of being in LA were kind of like there was none. It was, but I still had to pay the price.
Yeah.
So that was really like the selling point. I needed to move away, and at the same time, so my girlfriend is originally from Chicago, and she has her family. They had some property, and a tenant was leaving at the same time, so they had like a vacancy. And that was the perfect opportunity for us to just, be closer to a family, be somewhere we weren't like locked into a lease, for a certain amount of time, so we could just move there. That would be 3, 6, 12, 18 months. We weren't like locked in. And obviously that, in that context of things with the pandemic, that was a great thing to do. Luckily, I met a lot of people there. There was Sergio Oliva Jr. Connected me over there.
Nice.
So I was able to get into. It's a smaller scene, but the bodybuilding scene over there.
Were you able to train? There's some gyms open?
Yeah, no, the gyms were open, so that was also another thing that was great. We could train there, didn't have to wear a mask. So for me, that was good to be in Chicago at the time. That was, the best thing to do. And before I moved to Chicago, so earlier when I decided I was going to move, I reached out to Flex, actually. Flex Lewis, and I told him, I asked him about Boca. I was like, I would like to move there. And at the time, I already decided to move to Vegas.
But he hadn't said anything.
He hadn't told anybody, so except his wife, obviously. So he didn't tell me anything on the phone, but he just told me, you should just come here first, look for yourself. It's also quite expensive here. A lot of people are moving from New York. It's not as cheap. So he was kind of like telling me not to just jump the guns and like come and visit. And probably if I came, he would have told me what he had in mind. But anyway, it didn't happen that way. But then when I was in Chicago, I prepped for the California Pro, and that was really good. I had good people around me, training with Brennan Henriksen, Chris Hester, my good friend Push Pinder. It was a good environment for me at that time. That was nothing better. I mean, it was better than what I had in LA at that time. So it was a great thing to do. And then toward the end of the year, just before the Olympia, Brendan left. I don't really want to get too much into details with that, but he left Mendes Buckle, and then a lot of things kind of unraveled, and I had to take some distance from all this. And that's when it started to feel bittersweet to be there, because I saw Flex was opening his gym here, and over there, I didn't have really a bodybuilding community, and seeing the scene, the bodybuilding scene coming together here in Vegas, I saw it coming, this is going to be the new Mecca, and that's what I wanted to be part of in LA. And that was perfect because it was cheaper than LA, so that was also a good way to get everything I really wanted, and it was just coming together under my eyes here in Vegas. And so when Shawn told me I'm moving to Vegas, I was like, okay, let's do it.
When did he say that? When did he tell you the first time I'm thinking about moving to Vegas?
So the first time, I think that was toward the end of before the Olympia. I think once you moved, he was started mentioning maybe moving to Vegas.
I was pushing hard for him to come here.
Yeah, but at the time, and with his daughter being in California, I was like, yeah, I'm sure he would love the idea of it, but I don't know if he's going to actually do it. But then I think that was toward February, March, that he was like, no, we're moving. So I was like, okay, let's figure it out.
So what they did for a long time is they actually came here almost every 2 weeks when he didn't have Cora to look at houses and to look at areas, and he would ask me a lot of questions. So I think he wanted, just like Flex had suggested for you to do in Florida, he did that to Vegas to kind of get an idea, and financially he made up his mind. But so he told you, okay, that's it, I'm moving to Vegas. What do you say?
I said, let's go.
He said, get an extra room in a yard for the dog.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was like, if you don't mind, I'd love to be part of this. And if you, because he said, I really want to come here and grind, be in the industry, with Flex, people are training, making some content. And I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. So if you let's get a bigger house and let's get together.
How hard was it for you guys to split in a way when he moved to Oxnard? I mean, that's already, but it's a couple of hours driving distance. Once you tell him, I'm moving to Chicago, he's like, whoa. Yeah. Now it's a plane, ride. So how was it for you to train all those months without him, even though you had found a crew over there? Yeah. Tell me what the vibe was for you, because you've trained with him for years now, since before he won the Olympia in 2018. So tell me a little bit, how was it for you not to be with him all these months?
So, I mean, for me, it was really hard because when the whole, 2019 happened, he was thinking of maybe moving in the same complex I was living in my.
I remember that.
And I was like, that would be great, because he's always late, but at least, I can go get him and get there at the same time. Things didn't work out that way, and he decided to move away to save some money and be closer to his daughter, which I obviously can't blame him for. Yeah. But then, we had so many. It's so automatic for us to train together. We don't need to say anything. We know. Like, I know when he's done with the set, I know if I'm bringing, like smaller dumbbells to do drop sets. I know the next set if we are going up 15, 20, or 25 pounds.
You're in sync.
Yeah, completely in sync. So it's something you just, it takes a while to build. And we have, like, similar strengths. And it's just like we actually, we just push each other to just do more, like, and without any ego too. So it's really like we want to get the most out of each other and every session, without being like, oh, I'm trying to show up, I'm stronger, or there's none of this. It's just trying to like get the most of every session and push each other to leave it all in the gym. And that's something really special that takes a while to really build, and the right person to
the chemistry.
Yeah, the chemistry, yeah. And that's something you don't find that often.
Yeah. Well, I know he's very excited for you to be here. We spoke about it at length. Actually, you're the first one who called me to let me know, so I'm glad. And then I told him, why did you not tell me Stan's coming? you beat him to the punch. So I was really glad you actually kept me posted.
Maybe he wasn't sure. Maybe he was like, maybe you won't do it because.
You think?
I don't know. Maybe it was like, maybe we, like me, I thought for Cora, maybe, the idea sounds great, but same for me, like. My girlfriend just found a job at the beginning of the year, so she couldn't just follow me right away. So it's it's not easy. But we were making things work, and hopefully she'll be here soon.
How do you feel about since you moved here? Because it's always one thing to actually imagine how it could be somewhere else in another state, but until you actually live it, sometimes you're pleasantly surprised, and sometimes it's not as good as you thought. How is it since you moved here?
Well, it's funny because Vegas never really attracted me before.
Me neither.
It was really like, because it's not my scene, like nightclub, party, the whole strip. But I love Vegas for the Olympia experience because it's bodybuilding everywhere, and here where we live, it's just, to me, it's perfect because I don't see the strip at all. Like, we are close to the mountain. The nature is beautiful. The weather, you're not wondering what kind of weather it's going to be today. It's going to be bright, sunny, and warm. So it just puts a smile on your face. It puts you in good mood, and that just sets the tone for the day. So it makes everything easier. It makes me hungry when I wake up. It makes me willing to push it more in the gym.
Good energy.
Yeah, really, and it makes a big difference. I knew like the weather was a big influence. Like growing up in Switzerland, I always realized when the day gets shorter and it gets cold, I really get kind of depressed a little bit. And in Chicago, like, the cold didn't bother me at all, honestly. It's just like really like, just it's not the same energy, and like the lack of sun is just like, that's what, like, once you're, it's funny, you get used to things quickly, but you also forget quickly. Like, when I got back here, just being more into this industry, like, again, all around all the people, and having the sun again, I was like, oh, God, I missed that.
Talk about the Dragon's Lair. I mean, you've seen it on videos for months before you could actually come here, and I was kind of do it on purpose, hoping you would see the videos. I was like, hopefully it's giving him the itch. Tell me what it's like to actually train here after months of just watching.
Well, it's even better in person. Like, so everybody was watching the videos, and I'm like, wow, it looks like a crazy gym.
The grand opening. You were supposed to be here for the grand opening. You couldn't make it. That must have killed you.
It did, actually. I really want to be part of this. I mean, I felt so bad because I don't like to say something and don't, follow through with my words. But like, I had something planned to be, a house plan like within 2 weeks of the opening, And then it was like, well, then if I come here with my dog, it's 2 weeks, I don't know where I'm staying. It might be a little complicated, so I'm just going to hold on. And then this house, I didn't actually end up working, so it was actually a good thing I didn't come, because I would have been kind of stuck in a position having to move from Airbnb to Airbnb and spend more money that I wish I would have. So it was a good thing I didn't, but I still looked, until last minute with a friend of mine. We were trying to look at flights, but the flights, the price were back up. Like a few months ago, it was only less than $100 to get a round trip, and now they were over $400. So to come just
I think Guy paid like $800. He told me.
Oh wow.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, so for me, knowing I was moving right after, it was just an expense. It wasn't really worth it. But I watched all the video, and I was like, But I missed you. I'm here now.
So I'm glad that you actually are glad you made a decision. It was a good one for you, and you're happy you're here, and we're happy to have you. Talk to me bodybuilding a little bit. So you're big as a house right now. You told me off camera you're about 280. You gained 10 pounds since you get here,
yeah.
Right?
Yes, exactly 10 pounds.
So what are your plans for this year? Would you like to compete in 2021? I know it's going to be hard to qualify for the Olympia because it's in October instead of December. Yeah. If they had kept it in December, most likely you would have a better chance, right? So what would you like to do this year, 2021, or if not, 2022?
So I'm not really set in anything right now. I'm going to wait until I'm really settled here to see where my body's at and how I feel with things. So I'm giving myself about 2 weeks. But as far as now, I still have some kind of plan in mind. And I'm thinking, right now the shows, there's not that many. And there's a lot of top guys that still have to qualify, from the 6th place to the 10s, and you forget about Rolly Winkler. So you got Akim Williams, Ian Valle, Hunter Labrada, Sergio Oliva, Rolly Winkler.
You know what's funny that you mentioned that? New York is just about to happen this weekend.
Yeah.
And I looked at the lineup. The Open only has 11 competitors. Why is that?
I don't know. Maybe some people were not sure it was going to
or needed more time.
Or needed more time because the season ended up late, so they wanted a little longer break. So that's why right now it's going to be. I mean, for me, if I jumped in now, maybe the next couple shows it would be still doable. But I need 6 to 8 weeks to get ready.
Which is short.
Yeah, which is short. But by then, a lot of the top guys are going to be ready too, and it's going to be the end of the qualification series for this year Olympia. So in my position, I'm thinking. Might as well just take a few more weeks, keep improving, and then trying to qualify early toward the end of 21, maybe San Marino. Where I really have my eyes on is the Legion, because it's here in Nevada.
November, right?
Mid-October, I believe.
Oh, okay.
End of October.
Okay.
I think it's 24th.
Okay.
So that's what I have my eyes on, and I'm trying to, look at shows around that. I like San Marino because that was a good show for me in Classic Physique.
You won that, yeah.
So that's the week before. With traveling, and don't always also with COVID. So I'm going to have to see, but I'd like to do 2 or 3 shows around that, depending also how I do. That's kind of what I'm thinking so far. Yeah.
Right. So maybe an early qualification for 2022, and that way you can take an entire year to kind of get ready.
Exactly. So right now, give me a few more weeks to improve. Then I can get ready, trying to qualify or get some points, enough points, back-to-back shows. And then hopefully I have a whole year to keep making improvements. And then by 2022, I'm pretty confident I'll be a solid over 250 pounds on stage, and which should be, more than enough weight to compete with everybody.
You still work with Chris Aceto?
Yeah, I'm still with Chris Aceto. So I know conditioning won't be an issue. Last year, I kind of we worked together, he get me in shape, but toward the end, I was worried about looking big enough, and so I pushed the foot a little more than Chris wanted me to. So I took the blame. But I think it just also another thing is they didn't make us pose as much on stage that I thought they would. Maybe because we were wearing masks and they were worried maybe somebody would pass out or something. But as I was posing, I was getting drier and drier, and I was worried that if I came just just right, I would flatten out. So that was my plan, and it didn't really work as I wish it did. But I still, still moved on as the judging went on. I moved on places, still made the second call out, and it was some really tough guy. I mean, it was a tough show. Everybody could have won pretty much. It was a lot of good talent. So to me, it wasn't disappointing. It was just, obviously not what I wished for, but it was a, very competitive show, and it was encouraging for what's to come. So I'm keep working and. Coming better this year and hopefully qualify.
You're still only 32, so that's very young. You're just getting into your prime. So, you know.
Yeah, and I'm still, growing every year. So adding, decent amount of size year after year. So, yeah.
All right, Stan, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to you. I wanted to film with you as soon as you got here, but you told me, just give me a week so I can put some size back on, because I didn't train for a week before I moved here, and obviously that paid off. So I thought you looked pretty big already, but that's okay. I was glad to wait, and I'm so glad that you and Shawn get the chance to train together again. It's great to see you guys train as a team in the gym. It's always good energy, and I wish you the best for 2021. And we'll catch up with you again many more times, I'm sure, leading up to the show, and I appreciate you coming back on JayTV.
Yeah, thanks Dave, thanks Jay, and thanks everybody for watching. See you soon.
All right. Dave, I'm Max 6 with Stanimal at the Dragons Lair, and we're out.